The vibe I'm going for, Asian Elle Woods. This one's for all the sorority sisters. We're making some really cute items so you can live your best Greek life. Welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen, and the purpose of this channel is to make sewing and crafts fun and approachable for everyone. And this was actually a viewer requested video. I've been working on it for quite a while, and I feel like I've stepped back in time by wearing this sweatshirt. It's been a hot second since I was in college, but little known fact, I was in a sorority, and I wanted to do some sorority DIYs that were pretty easy and also very budget friendly, because I know a lot of chapters don't have endless amounts of money, so you want to make some really cool things for gifting to your littles during pledge week or whatnot. I've come up with a few project ideas. Most of these are pretty quick. You can make them in batches, so if you have a large pledge class, you can make quite a few at once. Most of these are very budget friendly. I do use a Cricut Maker for the majority of the projects. I figure among, your whole sorority, there's gotta be someone with some type of Cricut. There are certainly ways around this. You could cut out the letters by hand. If you have the tool, use it. And maybe a Cricut, something that your chapter wants to invest in. You can make a lot of stuff with the Cricut. I really wish we had this when I was in college because it is such a time saver. The last project does involve an embroidery machine. I know you're probably like, Jen, you're way old. I don't really need an embroidery machine. I am telling you, there is so much you can do with an embroidery machine, and you don't have to be some sort of sewing expert to use it. If you're interested, I do have quite a few videos on embroidery machines for beginners that I will link both up here and down below in the description box. And I also have a video on setting up your Cricut Maker. I love this thing. I've had it for a few months and I've been using it a ton. These are straight up dollar store cups. They came in a pack of 3 for $1, so they're like 33 cents each. Really easy to personalize just with some regular vinyl, so let's jump right into that one. I did use Cricut Design Space for these projects, and I have a Cricut Access Premium membership. Greek letters are included with the subscription, so I looked up each letter and inserted the images into my project. They're layered, so I deleted the light blue parts and just kept the black ones. You can select letters, align them to be even, and distribute it horizontally so they're equidistant. I did play around with the aspect ratio to be a bit taller and skinnier, which will change the look. To fit onto the cups, the whole design is about 4 inches wide by 2 inches tall. Then I copy and pasted it to cut a few at one time. Base material was set to regular vinyl, with the fine point blade in the Cricut Maker. The green standard grip mat worked fine and didn't take very long to cut. This part is sped up for time's sake. Remove the excess vinyl and don't forget to weed out the sections inside letters. A few people have recommended straight up contact paper instead of Cricut brand transfer tape, and this is the way to go. It's cheap and it works. Burnish it with a scraper and the vinyl should pick up easily. And here's a trick to applying vinyl to curved surfaces. Cut slits in between the letters with scissors. Start by applying the center of your design. Those slits will allow you to shift other sections to line up evenly so the entire design isn't curved. Rub the vinyl into the surface of the cup and peel off the contact paper. These cups are perfect for a cold beverage in the dorms or to hold pens and pencils on your desk. Next up is the very versatile zippered pouch. I've made quite a few of these on the channel if you like sewing and you want to give it a whirl, but you don't have to make them. They sell these all over the place. Lots of different colors. This is cotton canvas. I got these in packs of 16 from Amazon just because I wanted to show you what it was like to do it on just your standard blank. I did pre-wash them, and then I used glitter iron-on to do the letters. For this project, I tried out a different type of glitter iron-on that doesn't have a carrier sheet. It's thicker than HTV, and I did not mirror the design because I cut the material face up. To place the letters straight, I folded the pouch in half to give me a center point to work off of. I was worried about the letters shifting around if I tried to fuse all 3 at once, so I did each one individually. To protect the surface, I placed a Teflon sheet in between my iron and the material. The iron was on the wool setting, and for this iron-on, it required about 30 seconds of heat. After pressing the Delta letter on in the center, I moved on to the Sigma and Phi. Such an easy way to jazz up a very basic zipper pouch. This is actually one of my current favorite go-to DIY projects. I get these notebooks from moo.com, but you can use any notebook, and you could either do heat transfer vinyl or you could even do just regular vinyl if it has more of a papery finish. So I'm going to show you how I added these HTV letters to a cloth hardbound notebook. The next couple projects utilize the same Greek letter design, and they're also really quick. I ended up using those same Sigma Delta Phi elements, but sized them a bit smaller than the cups. For heat transfer vinyl, don't forget to mirror the image because you're cutting the material face down. The HTV is glitter iron-on, which there is a specific cut setting for. Here are the letters being cut out with the regular fine point blade. After weeding out the excess vinyl, lay out the design with the clear carrier sheet on top. To prep the notebook, heat up the surface with the Cricut Easy Press at a temperature around 280 degrees Fahrenheit for about 5 to 10 seconds. To protect the cover, I placed a Teflon sheet between it and the heat press. A clear ruler will help place the design evenly so it's not crooked. Lay the Teflon sheet over it again and press with heat for at least 30 seconds. Let the vinyl cool down for a few minutes, and gently peel off the carrier sheet from one corner to another. This is such a useful item to personalize for gifts, and the glitter iron-on gives the notebook a little sparkle. Moving on to the home decor portion of this program, custom towels. I mean, you gotta have your letters everywhere, right? Self-promotion. This one does involve an embroidery machine, and I'm going to show you how I did the towels. You can do bath towels, hand towels, kitchen towels, perfect for the apartment or your dorm room. Okay, first off, embroidery machines require computerized designs, and there are tons of them to choose from. I found this Greek letter font on Etsy. Fonts use a BX file format and can be used in embroidery software programs. This one even comes with a keyboard map, so you can spell out the name of a sorority or a fraternity. I recommend the free version of Embrilliance Express software. There are multiple font sizes, and you just have to import them by dragging and dropping into the screen. Open up a new text box and input the letters. Then select the Greek font and size you want. You can also switch the displayed thread color to be able to preview the design. I ended up doing the 2-inch size and landscape orientation. With Embrilliance, you can save both embroidery files and project files. I made a folder on my desktop just for embroidery designs and transfer the ones I'm going to use onto a USB drive that plugs directly into the embroidery machine. To place the towel, fold it in half lengthwise with the back on the outside. With the disappearing ink pen, mark the center point at the edge and further in. If you're totally lost for this next part, check out my embroidery machine basics video which explains more. I'm going to float the towel over a hooped piece of wash-away stabilizer. You want the stabilizer to get a tight fit. On the short side of the hoop, mark out the center line. I used a folded up piece of paper for a quick and flexible ruler. Cover up just the hoop with strips of painter's tape. My makeshift spray booth is a Trader Joe's bag that I cut the top out of. That's how I apply some temporary spray adhesive for the towel to stick to. Of course, remove the tape. With the connecting part of the hoop to the left, place the folded towel on the stabilizer's marked line. Unfold the towel and it should be pretty well centered in the hoop. Over that, I add a layer of water-soluble topper so the loops in the towel material don't poke through. Curved wonder pins work well to hold the topper in place. Now we're ready to fire up the embroidery machine. I transferred the design to the machine and used an Organ ballpoint needle, white rayon thread, and tension of 3.4. P.S. I'll link the towels below. They're from Target and they only cost $1.99 each. And try not to leave the machine unattended while it's stitching out, because that's often when problems will happen. Once the design is stitched out, remove from the hoop, tear off the water-soluble topper. On the back, trim off the stray threads with curved scissors. Cut away the excess stabilizer, but the rest will wash away when you launder the towels again. Now you don't have to shell out the big bucks to order custom monogram towels from Pottery Barn or Land's End. The design may be a little wrinkled out of the dryer, but I just pressed the towels quickly with an iron and some steam and they snapped back to normal. And of course, we've got to talk about what I am wearing, which is this applique sweatshirt. This is also considered your sorority traditionals, so I wanted to try to DIY my own. I got some sweatshirts in a few different colors, and I'm making multiples. So I made my own applique Greek letter shapes, and then I did double layer appliques. Came out super cute. This is certainly the most time-consuming project, but I'm going to walk you through it. I do use my Cricut Maker and a very basic sewing machine. That's really all you need, and if you don't have a Cricut, you can certainly trace the letters out and cut them by hand, but I use the Cricut because it's what I had on hand and it did save quite a bit of time. So let's go right into this one. We're back in Cricut Design Space because I bought a layered Greek alphabet SVG cut file. I uploaded the file and inserted it into a new project. Obviously, I don't need all of these letters, so I deleted the unnecessary characters, only keeping sigma, delta, and phi. I sized the letters about 3.8 inches tall. Since I'm making 3 sweatshirts at a time, I copy and pasted the design 3x. At first, the larger letters didn't all fit onto one mat, but I maneuvered them around and was able to figure it out. The base material is set to cotton bonded. While testing out cutting quilting cotton, less pressure worked the best. Now on to prepping the fabric. Heat and Bond Light is a product I've used many times for applique. The sorority mascot is a panda, and I dug out the perfect print from my stash. Press the fabric well with an iron. Place a sheet of Heat and Bond on the wrong side of the fabric with the glue dots facing down, paper side up. On medium heat, I fuse the materials together for about 10 to 15 seconds. Then I cut down the piece to 12 by 12 inches in order to fit onto the mat. Peel off the paper backing and place the fabric glue side down onto a pink cutting mat. Really press that fabric with the palms of your hands. While I do love my Cricut Maker, I found that I get better results testing out different materials and settings for practice. This was my first time using the bonded fabric blade. When I did a test cut on the default pressure, the blade cut too deep into the mat. Less pressure left a few areas at corners that didn't cut all the way through, but that was easy to fix later with a pair of scissors. Weed out the excess material and lift off the letters carefully. This will be the top layer. The bottom layer is this fresh, bold floral print I've had forever. I thought it went well with the panda print. Cut out the letters using the same process. These are Hanes sweatshirts, pre-washed of course. It can be tricky to place designs onto clothing, but I find a clear quilting roller to be helpful by lining it up right at the underarm seam. This sweatshirt's V detail at the neck ended up being handy for centering. That seemed a bit high for the letters, so I moved the roller down 1.5 inches. Once you're sure about the placement, press the letters into place with the iron. Then by eye, do your best to center the top letters over the bottom letters. You want an even amount of space between the edges of the letters. Repeat the pressing on the top letters. This is already looking awesome, but you do need to sew down the letters permanently. Metler Thread sent me samples of their Seriflex line, and I thought this project was a perfect fit for it. Seriflex thread behaves like standard thread, but it has elasticity so your seams can stretch quite a bit without snapping. It comes in 36 colors, and I chose it because the sweatshirt is a knit fabric. I was worried that winding the bobbin would be difficult, but to my surprise, it was no different than regular thread. I recommend either a ballpoint or a stretch needle. If you've gotten to this point but you've never sewn before, you may want to watch a few of my Learn to Sew videos all about using a sewing machine. And here are my sewing machine settings. It's a zigzag stitch to encase the raw edges of the fabric. This last step is going to take a while, but you can Netflix and sew or listen to some music or podcast in the meantime. Zigzag stitch all around the outside and inside edges of each letter. The look I ended up liking the most was by lining up the outside of the zigzag stitch with the edge of the fabric. Slow down at the corners and leave the needle down while you pivot the sweatshirt under it. Yellow and pink thread acted as a nice coordinating contrast to the applique fabrics. And you'll notice that my stitching isn't perfect, so don't stress out too much. Another bonus to using busier prints is that they do minimize the stitches. These turned out super cute, and it's a fresh take on sorority traditionals. Alright, now that we've gotten through the actual projects, I do also want to let you know there are links to some of the stuff I used and some more information down below in the description box. And also, I know you're probably wondering, Jen, you are way ancient. Why are you making sorority stuff now in your house? That's crazy. And as an alum, I'm going to be making these items and sending them to the current chapter of Sigma Delta Phi at my old alma mater. I remember when I was in college, which was like almost 20 years ago, that the stuff that was available was kind of boring. So if you wanted anything, you know, cool and kind of unique, you really had to make it yourself. So I really hope that this video has inspired you and given you some ideas. You're obviously not limited to just the things I've made, but there's so much you can do yourself, you know, just with some few, you know, simple basic supplies, some scrap fabric, pretty much anything you got. You can make some really cute and very well-loved things within your sorority chapter. And also, if you're an alumni like myself, maybe you want to get in your craft room and make some stuff to send to the current actives, because I know, again, budgetary concerns are always a thing. So anything you do is, of course, always appreciated by the sorority chapter. And I also want to talk about blanks. I've bought a lot of basic supplies for making videos for the sewing report, and I'm always looking for really good deals. So some of my top sites are jiffyshirts.com. I'll link it below. I've gotten some really awesome prices on things like t-shirts, hats for like $3, other things that might be commonly used by college students. And I happened to get an awesome Amazon sale on these sweatshirts. I'll link where I got them. Keep in mind they do tend to run really small. I'm wearing a medium and it's more like a women's small. I also have large sweatshirts. They fit more like a medium. So if you are a large, I would get an extra large. Definitely size up at least one size, especially if you like more relaxed fitting clothing. But I like the quality. They're, I think, made of recycled polyester and cotton. So it's a 50-50 blend, but I think these sweatshirts are definitely my favorite out of all of the projects. Let me know below in the comments, which one do you like the most? And also, are you going to be making stuff for your Greek chapter as well? And it's been so long since I was in school, but I kind of felt like I was getting more in touch with my college self and, you know, traveling back in time for this video. So I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. And if you do want to see a lot more project ideas and also help videos, if you know nothing about the Cricut Maker or sewing or embroidery machines, I have a lot of videos here on the channel just for beginners. So thank you guys so much for joining me here at the Sewing Report. And remember, make it fun.